Today, this is the ChillPoint key card. It will take about 2 hours to download the full episode. Sorry about that. Yeah. If you try to you won't have the whole episode yet. If you try to fast forward, it won't work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Maricat's asking, their tea is too watery tasting. Would you add dry milk powder to green tea? I'd try anything once, Maricat. Just do it. Just go ahead and do it and ruin your tea, and then you'll know you shouldn't do it again, I guess.
I've gotten really good at drinking green tea straight.
Nobody.
But, for a different kind of tea that I'd prefer there to be milk in, I'd definitely try a powdered milk or anything.
And non-dairy creamer?
Yeah, I've tried
Nobody
that.
can
I
tell you
definitely
what you
won't
can't do in
do.
your
I
tea.
definitely won't do non-dairy creamer now that I've tried that one.
Add fucking cornstarch.
Ew.
I like when it's just called coffee whitener.
Yeah.
It's they don't even pretend that it is. It's not cream. It's not anything. It's just white paint.
It just makes your coffee white. It's just titanium dioxide. I mean, it isn't. I have no idea what's in it, but
Anyway. Hey, everybody. Welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we talk about tea. And specifically, we drop some tea on the week's video game news. And also talk about the episode of ChillPoint that went up yesterday.
I have some tea for you. Oh, great. I'll pick it up next week. That's not what I meant.
I hate to do this at the top of the show since we were just about to start talking about ChillPoint news, and it's terrible whenever we go off script like
so
this.
hard. Yeah.
I noticed that Paul doesn't even have the news up yet. He's just kind of I know you guys are going to screw around for 5 minutes. I'm not even going to bother bringing it up. I am going to go get my hoodie because I'm actually feeling cold and I didn't think I would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be right back.
That's why I went and got my hoodie.
Yeah,
I had to go get my spare extra from the shelves that I keep here because it's raining outside. So the one that I wore in is damp and I feel would be uncomfortable to wear for the show.
Yeah. Extra hoodie.
Yeah, I try to
Always
keep
good.
extra clothes around the moon base because in general, it's if you're filming and you need to pretend you're here on a different day, having some extra t-shirts, it's great. But also when the weather sucks outside, which I like rain. I just don't like being soggy at work. So having extra clothes around is pretty good.
Yeah. Although the fun part is, sometimes when we're recording a bunch of podcasts or something, we're we better, change outfits between podcasts.
I do like it when people do that because if I have to edit the podcast, it's a more visual signifier as to which episode I have.
But then I'll do the thing where for instance, when I'm doing the going online picture or something, for here on ChillPoint or for some other podcast or something, I'll realize that these episodes that we have filmed week on week on week, often we are also just wearing the same clothes.
Oh yeah,
because you only have so many clothes, so it's
it's rotation, right? It's not
So what I'm saying is wearing the same clothes on a bunch of episodes of podcast wouldn't even be that unusual.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we feel the need to pretend that we're all different, wearing different stuff each time. Anyway, also yes, we part of the problem with the merch is it's a good hoodie. And it's a good hoodie.
I really like the thumb
good
holes.
t-shirt.
Good t-shirt.
Personally,
So we tend to wear them.
It means the sleeves are a little bit longer, and they cover my hands. I like my hoodie sleeves to be on the longer side.
And
I
I'm
like too long. I don't want to look like I have monkey arms.
I'm discovering that I don't like ribbing at the end of my long sleeved whatevers.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
I like that this is just open.
I'm a big fan of that myself.
Yeah, wow. Didn't think that'd be the
and
case.
Clothes should not have tags in the back next to the neck.
No, exactly.
That's just a bad place.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey everybody. Let's get into this week's episode of ChillPoint, which got a lot of positive feedback about, which was great. Starting with, I did actually want to start with the in the intro mentioning, and once again, wanting to shout out the BCGEU, the
General
BC
Employees Union.
Yeah, the BC General Employees Union, who are still out there. Like we said, it's raining today, so stay strong out there, folks.
Mm-hmm. I think you must walk past like 2 or 3 different picket lines on the way to work. Yeah.
Yeah, they are very, very prominent.
Yeah.
So it's great to see so many people out there.
I like too that it's really driving home to me, because I always think about like, oh, well, people who work in the BC General Employees Union obviously work in like the legislature building and then maybe the building behind it downtown. Right? So it's kind of like they have just, they just put all their employees in there. And it's like, no, in Victoria, there are like dozens of places that the BC government have as offices, and so they all pour out of these buildings to walk around with their whatevers. It's like, oh God, they're everywhere.
Any building in BC or in Victoria especially, any building that is left vacant for too long just becomes government, some sort of government facility. That's just generally, it just happens.
Yeah, it's not like it's a rule or a law. It's just like they're just like, oh, there's nobody in there. We could use more office space.
Yeah, I mean, it's the capital. There's a lot of stuff here. So yeah. Anyway, the only issue, and this is very, very small. The only issue I have with it is because there's so much support. Lots of people are honking all the time. And if you're walking by there,
right,
and we are in this today's society in a city, you are very highly tuned to hearing honking and being like, oh no, something bad is happening.
Especially in the downtown area, right? Because that's like, a lot of the times if you hear the sound of honking, you hear the sound of crashing really close afterwards.
I wish there was a approval honk versus something very bad is happening honk.
Because usually the approval honk is supposed to be too sharp, beep beep like that, right? Like beep is supposed to be something has gone wrong. I need your attention, because all you can do in the
don't use honking properly.
No, you're supposed to beep beep to kind of be like, yes, I am saying hi to my friend on the sidewalk, that kind of thing. But it's too hard to like hit the thing. I tried this on my car, and it's just like to go beep beep
really
like
designed that way.
It doesn't feel like you can, because I don't honk my horn almost ever, so I don't know the distance. The button throw is really unusual.
Every car should just have like a little like 1 octave piano key thing that you could do all sorts of different notes. Yeah,
just like sorry, I just did an arpeggio, just like Philip Glassing my way down the road. The though funny is that I just watched Wade from Dank Pods was just bought a old busted up ambulance, and he talked about how on the column there's if you push in one of the selector levers, that's the horn. The horn isn't in the center of the thing. It's actually just go beep beep like that on the side. You just push the little lever in. And my mother's minivan also had 2 little buttons where the thumbs were, so you can go beep beep like that. You didn't have to move your hand off the thing while you're driving.
Anyway, let's go into the PS Portal, the other PSP, which Graham was talking about in this first episode, or this first story, mainly because apparently it's actually quite popular.
Well,
relatively speaking.
It's not unpopular.
Yeah. 5% attachment rate.
5% on, and what was it like? If we extrapolate that worldwide, it's like 4 million or something.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Off 80 million in sales, so it's about 4 million. Which, I mean, the PSP sold like 20 million, and the Vita sold like 15 million.
Those are more travel.
Those are a whole different thing. The fact that you need to have a PlayStation 5 already for this to sell to use this thing. But I saw lots of people on the comments to stories talking about that, or like in the Twitter thread talking about this, that people being like, yeah, it's like my favorite. It's like I don't even have I don't even play that many games on it. I just use it to like consume media. And using the PlayStation as the like media server.
So I have this joystick
It's just using it as like an iPad, basically.
Oh my God.
As a
Yeah.
tablet.
I mean,
heard,
you use
like-
it however you want. Let's be honest,
Yeah,
right?
I
Use
mean,
it-
I've heard some people on podcasts talk about having one and like how they like to use it around the house or as that like second screen thing that the essentially what the Wii U tried to do.
Yes.
But
was a few years too early. I
on
fear.
the thing, but
Yeah.
it is kind of I guess the reason why it's like is it popular enough, and it must because the whole article tagline was more about how it looks like they'll make one for the PS6 or something, right? Or
Well,
that it will work with the PS6 probably.
Well, or it's the article the line in the article was talking about, because there's long been rumors about with Xbox doing the Xbox ROG Xbox Ally X.
Ally,
that's
Rogue.
that's the order that they're supposed to be.
Okay.
ROG
Xbox Ally X.
With that, and with obviously with the Switch and all this stuff, there's been a lot of conversation about the next PlayStation having a mobile version as well.
Right.
Maybe not like a Switch thing where it's actually converting, but like a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so something like the PlayStation Portal, but actually having brains itself.
Yeah,
So the
it's
Vita.
just- it's
Yeah,
well, yeah,
like
it's-
having another portable
It's
system.
just interesting because of how often Sony does not keep supporting things that aren't the mainline system.
The idea, but I think the idea here would be compatibility. Like the idea is that it would still play PlayStation games. It wouldn't be its own system.
Oh, sure. It's just, but like it's this isn't the first thing that they've definitely taken from Nintendo.
Right.
Move
Yeah.
controllers and such. But it's always kind of like even the Vita had that feeling of like, oh, they don't. Did they know they have a Vita? Like,
yeah. The kind of like this forgotten piece of technology that, I mean, there was a lot of other, like the PSP Go was there's also like there's like a Sony Ericsson cell phone of the time was also like PSP compatible and stuff. They'd like tried all sorts of different things to be like, well, how do we integrate this technology? It's like, again, a lot of like, we're trying all this stuff out, but it hasn't really, it's not going to achieve saturation in the market, and so therefore it doesn't really, it never takes off.
I mean,
and yet we're at a point where it's now like everything is a slab of glass, and
the Vita did
that can
connect
change
to the PlayStation in the same way that the Portal did.
yeah.
Right.
And supposedly you could use it through Wi-Fi in other locations to
Phone home.
make that work. There's an app for your computer which has never worked great for me, even on the PS5. I always test these things with rhythm games to really see how much it lags.
Yeah,
so that's one thing.
that's
But then
the worst
even
case scenario.
even turn-based games, so your RPG turn-based are one of the better things to use. I kept just dropping connection in my own house, so
That's not
I
good,
couldn't
yeah.
see the story that was even happening.
Although, yeah, and I mean, part of that, I believe the PS5 also does have kind of a notoriously bad Wi-Fi setup. But anyway, and then the other part of this story was sort of as part of this that the PS4 continues to be very popular.
Yes.
In the sense that various developers are getting frustrated that people aren't upgrading their so.
They're not dropping $600 on a PS5 and they continue to play games on their PS4.
And so, for instance, Genshin Impact in April of next year is going to be dropping PS4 compatibility. Their amazing worlds are too amazing for the PS4.
I do find that to be a little weird, like in the sense that like, okay, so games like that, because is Genshin Impact on the phone?
Yes.
well,
There's a mobile version of it as well.
yeah.
I believe.
Like there is a point where if it was on mobile, it would be like, okay, we stopped supporting like these phones and we support now these phones, because that always happens and you get like a warning about that. But I'm like, if the game can run on a phone, I don't really understand why you can't keep it going on a PS4.
Yeah.
I guess it's just too big, but I don't know.
You have to be online the entire time.
I would think that the reason why you wouldn't is because like
I mean, I would guess
pretty
that,
certain
I think
that
most phones probably have a better processor than a PS4 at this point.
yeah, but I'm pretty certain that the architecture of the PS4 and the PS5 are two different architectures. Ultimately, are they not? They're not.
I would assume so.
Yeah, and so it tends to be what has happened over the last several generations is that the consoles took a long time to get to like the ARM architecture, and so if you're making Genshin Impact for anything that targets ARM, it's like, oh well, that's a little easier on us, and maybe there's just this thing of where they're like supporting this other thing when we have all of these other systems that we're already concentrating on. We got to start cutting some of these loose because we're also Poyoverse has to also do Honkai Star Rail and also has to support Zenless Zone Zero. And I imagine to their point of view, it's like we're doing all this work. We have all these programmers working and stuff. Why do we still have 3 people whose job it is to look after PS4? Why aren't we migrating them into working on the more modern systems? You know, like
I like the idea that it's just like 3 people working on it.
it's a guess, right? It could be 10. It could actually be something that integrates into what everybody's doing already. But yeah.
In fact, one of the things that they're adding that apparently is one of the big sort of new features for Genshin that they're going to be adding in the next little while is a like Fortnite / Roblox / whatever user generated content, user generated levels and things.
Sick.
So and for whatever reason they've decided that functionality is something that the PS4 can't handle. So it's going to be that's
Fair.
one of the hard lines.
yeah,
Like it has to be a part of it has to be a part of every platform or else it doesn't actually count as being something that's everywhere.
yeah, like the PS5 when it first came out. Did it come out just prior to lockdown?
Yeah.
So it had that going on. It had supply chain issues, but
Yeah.
also it had that whole we don't know if it's going to have a big enough user base. So almost every game that comes out is also available as a PS4 game, with the exception of, I think, what was that game that Adam was really into?
Dark Sphere. Spheda.
It was a roguelike thing.
Dragon's Dogma.
So there was like one indie title or something that you could get exclusively that was like a hard roguelike type game. So it's like, that's not Returnal.
well.
Thank you. I knew Beach was not going to get it.
No.
So, the whole idea of like, well, I better get a PS5 was not probably the top of a lot of people's list.
No.
And then you also have a lot of people who are like, finances are a really hard thing to look at. You have a couple of years before PlayStation 5 really starts to get the exclusives that people are like, oh, I would really like to play that, but a lot of them do end up on PC later, so
And then
maybe you don't need to care, or
and
now the prices of consoles are just going up,
and now we're at the point where
which
it's
isn't
like,
going to help things. And I'm like, I don't expect anyone wants to go buy a PS5 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, the thing of like, oh, I'm not going to buy it now. I'll wait a couple of years. It'll
Yeah.
drop in price, and I'll go with that. And then it's like, wait a minute, it's not dropping in
I
price.
think that's how I bought the PS4. I got it like a couple of years just before the PS5 came out, and which meant that I got it at a cheaper price, but also all the games that I have any interest in doing. Now there's a huge backlog of games, and they're all like a much cheaper price because they don't care anymore. And why would I get a PS5?
We are definitely going to have trouble if the cost of consoles is continuing to rise. So we're going to definitely have trouble filming 6 PS6s.
We might have to fake some of them.
Just beyond saying it, it's going to be...
Maybe we can go get some like IKEA props and not have real consoles.
If they've made them fast enough. I think I like the juxtaposition in the story about that. It's like, on the one hand, we have Sony being like, hey, the attach rate on this console that isn't even a console that relies upon our other console is quite high. So therefore it is high-ish. It's 5%, right?
Technically, Sony isn't the one announcing this. This
Right.
was just
analysis firm. Yeah, but there was the fact that it's like there was a 5% attach rate apparently in the United States. It's like if you extrapolate that out, that could be this much worldwide if that was true everywhere. And it's like, so people are spending a lot of money to buy a PS5 and then also buy this other thing. So wow, there's just like, there's 1 in 20 people out there who are like, not only do I want to have this, I also want to pay more money to get this. On the other hand, you have people who are like, I am not giving up my PS4 come hell or high water. I'm not going to play Genshin on PS5. I'm not going to try to migrate over or do anything else. I want to continue playing it on PS4 for whatever reason. The assumption being they don't want to buy a PS5 right now. They don't want to buy any console maybe. Could even go that far, right? It's like, I am price sensitive to the amount that these things are cost. They cost. That is an assumption.
Let's assume that you care about Sony products for a second.
Sure.
You have a PS4. You really like it. You put off buying the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Now might be a time where you'd be like, oh, hey, that would be cool, but the price went up.
Yeah.
And they're talking about when the PS6 is going to release. There's rumblings of the PS6. Do you really want to buy a PS5 right now?
Because no, you've missed that generation maybe entirely, and you're like, and I had a great time the entire time on my other gaming systems. So
Yeah, right.
maybe I don't need
Maybe
to.
you want to
It would be
hang
like
on for
saying,
the
should I buy an
PS6?
Xbox Series X now because I haven't owned one yet? And it's like, yeah, what would be the point?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to speaking of what's the point. Moving on to TwitchCon. So I'm not going to go through the whole story here again of exactly all the stuff that happened. Nelson wrote the story and Bij read it and it goes into fairly long detail about the mishandling of this particular case, but it certainly shows that apparently, and I did some looking up on this, and it seems like TwitchCon is not run by like a independent.
Oh,
Okay. It says it's put on by Twitch Interactive, which is just Twitch. Whether there's a department within, presumably, I would hope at least at this point that there's a department within Twitch that's doing it.
because
It was put on by Twitch employees.
Yeah, originally
Early on.
it was just like the engineers and stuff at Twitch.
Yeah.
So I would really think probably at this point that there's a department within Twitch doing it, but it's not like it's being put on by, ReedPop or one of the convention companies. And but yes, I did want to say for one thing, while of course DashCon is a touchstone in terms of a convention that had issues, a lot of people called us out, I think rightly, that DashCon 2 happened earlier this year and apparently went off really great.
cool.
I don't think that's calling us out. I think that's pointing out that a group can improve, and they did it within their second event, as opposed to TwitchCon, which is on their 10th event.
Keeps running into problems.
But the idea that sort of DashCon is like the go-to failed convention thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we don't use that. Maybe we shouldn't use that anymore.
I'm gonna say
Fire Festival might be
a good one.
Yeah.
I think Fire Festival never actually happened, which is the problem.
DashCon 2 is a different organizing group.
Yes,
but still.
and I think that's more the thing is that the point the thing about DashCon 2 is I'm like, the reason why people went to DashCon 2 is they like, oh lol, this will be hilarious. How are they gonna fuck this one up? And so then they went and they're like, oh, it actually was a good convention. It's like, yeah, you got a ton of signups from people who are like, I want to participate in the next meme convention.
Yeah, I want to be part of the story.
I want the lanyard that shows that I went to the thing.
People
so I can
disappointed that it was well organized.
Exactly, right? And which is funny to me because I'm like, if you showed up and it sucked in a lot of like really big ways, then would are you using that as clout? Like you're being like, I'm taking great TikToks of myself having a terrible time here, so it's good. It's good content. It's hate content, and I'm just like, man, I don't know. Like, hearing the stories is important, but also going for the point of trying to generate stories, I think sucks.
For this story, maybe DashCon isn't as as good of a recent example. But by the time we have a next story, we can just refer to TwitchCon now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because that's more video game related than Firefest. I assume everything is more video game related than Firefest.
They announced a Firefest too, and it's the same people, I think, or a similar group of people. So it's like it's just going to be the same kind of rug pull.
Anyway, there was in I think one of the shoulder graphics was sort of a screenshot of it, but there's some interesting conversations about like sort of why TwitchCon is specifically having this so much trouble with this, and this idea of that, like say Comic-Con. Obviously, it's a much bigger event, but also it's, they have huge numbers of very, very high profile celebrities.
Yes.
And they're able to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And keep them and handle the problem. I think the problem that TwitchCon has is that the celebrity of a lot of streamers is a little bit of an unknown quantity. Like how successful somebody is as a streamer, whether that translates into people coming to see them in physical form,
Right.
is a little bit difficult to gauge. And people and the organizers just are not used to. I mean, after 10 years they should be, but they're not. That connection hasn't really been made. It's like, no, these people are. In this context, these people are celebrities.
Yeah.
They have to be protected and treated like celebrities. These aren't just people who are running a booth. These aren't just...
Yeah, except that it's also hard to tell when it's like, oh, well, this, from their numbers that it might be like, oh, okay, so X person is supposed to be a really big deal, so that's kind of easy. But it's like, well, what if you have a very dedicated fan base that is not as big as any other fan base, but they're also going to show up? It's like, well, like when we went the one year, it's like we have a very dedicated fan base, but we don't have the largest fan base on Twitch.
No.
And it's like, so should we get the same, should we be on a sliding scale? Should we get the same coverage or protection from a security group? Like, how do you actually address what it is that we're doing?
I would argue that given that the event is put on by Twitch, that they should know who the celebrities are on their platform.
Absolutely.
And if one of them tells them that they need private security and other things, that should be more of an indication of
of
and
what
that,
they need.
And that a bunch of, like, there are a bunch of celebrities or a bunch of high-profile Twitch streamers, high-profile female Twitch streamers who explicitly didn't come to the 2025, like who were at 2024, didn't come to 2025 because of
how things went last year.
Because of safety concerns.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean, I
not
haven't
a
been
good
back
sign.
since the first time I went because, as far as I'm concerned, TwitchCon is still trying to promote itself as a party convention and like 6 different types of conventions. And it really should just be hey, streamers show up and are there for the keynote and they're there for other streaming things. I don't think it should be a fan convention.
Like being a trade convention is not a bad idea.
If they want to do a fan convention thing, I think that would be fine. But I think then the focus needs to be on it being a fan convention. And I just feel like they mixed too many things in there, and it was a terrible experience.
And I mean,
and I don't think it's gotten better.
Ever since TwitchCon started, we've always, I don't know, personally, I've always had the stance of but why though? Like you're taking a group, you're taking a group of people, many people who are very, very popular, but their popularity is them being, doing stuff online and creating an event where, and taking them away from being online. Like you're taking them away from the thing that
like,
which seems like kind of a weird way of doing it.
Okay, but like comic and entertainment expos also though have that they have that a comic and entertainment expo. So let's say like San Diego Comic Con or Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, or like, a couple of those kind of things. They exist. Those cons exist in the space of we want to attract fans so you can indulge your fandom. And what's a great way to indulge your fandom? Well, you want to meet celebrities. And I guess if you start from the point of view of like, well, there's 2 ways to indulge your fandom. I guess there's really 3 ways to indulge your fandom. One is to spend money about it. So therefore you invite vendors to show up and sell their wares that go along with whatever the niche is. San Diego Comic Con, of course, is a very wide net. And the other way is another way is to let the fans interact with each other so that they can have an opportunity to enjoy fandom like in the real life category. So that's either through cosplay and dressing up, that's through playing games with each other, that's through like having panels that have to do with fan topics. So you can have all sorts of things you can talk about. And then the third way is, of course, to connect fans to the people who are behind the thing that they are a fan of. And providing the more human connection to give them an opportunity to bring in the celebrity, whether it's a person who stars as the person you like, or whether it's the person who writes the stuff that you like, or whether it's the person who illustrates the stuff that you like. It's like, and that can be either we've brought in the cast of Star Trek Strange New Worlds and you guys get to have a conversation with them, or it's we've brought in the people who write for this show or whatever, or it's we've brought in some people who do the best received fan art or the best received fan fiction for the thing that you like, and we're setting them up and we're having a chance for you to come in and meet them as well. And yeah, those in that case, it's like San Diego Comic Con has to operate as a multi-pronged event, that they have to be like, vendors have to be there for the fans to do these things, all the things that I just mentioned, because the fans are the ones who ultimately show up and dump all the money into this to make this happen. And TwitchCon is weird because it's like streamers show up, and unless you're like, I don't know what it's like for an invited streamer, like a partner, but somebody like a partner who's in like the top 50 or something, if it's like you get an invite and you get flown in and you get whatever else. But I'm like, we're partners as well. But when we showed up, it was, you're going to have to stand in line and get you're going to have to get your partner badges and stuff, and you're going to have to deal with the people at the front who are dealing with all that kind of thing. You're not like, you have access to some more areas than other people, but not a ton of other areas.
Yeah,
like,
you basically got to go to, like, if you wanted, I think, like a special partner party.
Yeah.
I think there was one room, at least when the one
like
that we
VIP
went to,
thing.
there was like one VIP thing where partners could go.
Yeah, and pick up swag.
It wasn't really a place where you hung out for very often. I think you could get coffee there or something.
I don't know how any of that's
And
changed.
then the partners also got like a little bit of extra swag than the affiliate, because I went as an affiliate, so I got like a fun sticker or something.
Yeah.
That I put on my Bujo.
And I think we
whatever.
got T-shirts.
You got T-shirts.
Yeah.
I think we all got fanny packs.
Yeah. But it's a very weird, like, it's like TwitchCon can exist as the kind of thing that's like fans can come out to enjoy the streamers, and the streamers can come out to, to also be like, I'm here to interact with other streamers, but I'm also here to interact with potential sponsors, but also not just sponsors, but like people who are like, oh, I want to buy a new chair, or I want to buy a new green screen, or I want to learn about, like, I want to go to the Corsair booth and talk about RAM for some reason. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, but none of those people are there to be like, oh, we want to partner with anyone. They're there to just sell product.
Yeah.
And but it kind of gets it feels like, oh, I'm supposed to go there and hand them my business card as if they might sponsor me when they probably won't.
We talked a lot about like E3 and other conventions that have the same problem, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you're an industry convention, that's one thing. If you're a fan convention, that's another thing. The two goals are basically diametrically opposed, and so many conventions try to do both and end up being bad at both.
Yeah, and it's hard to understand what is my purpose for being here, because I thought I was coming to an industry event.
The more fans that are at an industry event, the worse the industry event becomes.
Yeah.
And the more.
And in some ways, you also discover that some of the people who are fans are actually people who just they're also streamers, right? They're like
Right.
Yeah.
they're streamers with maybe a smaller audience or a different audience or whatever, but it turns out they're a fan of this other streamer, and you're like, oh. Right, it's very hard to determine if all of us who are getting in all have a badge that all are the name of our channel on them. there's no sort of like who's a guest here and who's like a guest of honor, or who's who's running panels and who's doing that, like something that I get out of at least going to PAX. It's like, oh, the distinction between what people are wearing around their necks lets you discern how did they get into the event in the first place, and what is it that they're doing here.
You just have to have like your subscriber number on your
Yeah. How early is your number? That
I mean, well, okay. Given the fact that when I went, I did have multiple guys approach me who were trying to use their streamer numbers as a pickup line, and they really didn't have subscribers on their
really?
channel. Yeah.
They're like, oh,
It was very skeezy.
you should collab with me, stuff like that.
Yeah. It was very skeezy. It was very like, oh yeah, no, I totally work. Some of them pretended to be other streamers because they had bigger numbers. It was a fun time.
Anyway, just to briefly touch on a couple of things that people mentioned in the YouTube comments. Obviously, this was already a long story, so Nelson didn't have opportunity to dig into some of the other stuff.
Oh yeah.
There was issues with VTubers having to who were wearing, like, if you're VTuber who explicitly is like not showing your face. Sometimes they go to like a convention wearing a mask, and then the security was forcing them to take off their masks in front of like the rest of the line
who have cameras,
including some people who are
IRL
just IRL
streamers.
Yeah.
And honestly, they should not allow IRL streaming through a lot of the event.
Oh yeah.
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 But then that would defeat
There were so many things about people being like going up to people in some of the private parties too, and with cameras, just being like, I'm streaming, and it's like, we're in a place where we're supposed to be able to turn off.
On the other hand, it means that we that we saw the incident with Imiru on camera. So I guess don't try to get away with anything at TwitchCon.
Because you're always going to be on camera.
Yeah, but a security line probably
Yeah.
shouldn't have an IRL.
And also, just like you should have a private security thing for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, because the people who are wearing masks are trying to kind of keep their identities more safe. They're VTubers and such. They don't want people to see what they look like.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of accessibility problems.
Oh,
they
yeah.
They
Saw
had
that about the wheelchair.
They had a Hermitcraft panel. One of the Hermitcraft, that's a Minecraft sort of collective. They're very popular. One of the Hermitcraft creators is in a wheelchair, and they didn't have like a way to get him onto the stage.
They invited him to there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
just not very well organized stuff.
A lot of stuff that wasn't thought through. There we go. That came out a lot easier that second time.
And that, again, after 10 years, they should be able to think through.
Yeah.
And they're in a position as Twitch, they're in a position to know this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? They have access to all the information they need in order to know what accommodations need to be made.
Potentially, yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I remember when we went years and years ago.
But I was just saying, like, PAX doesn't necessarily know which people are VTubers, which people are whatever. They're a big, they're a big convention. They're doing stuff. Twitch does. You work, you're on their platform. Yeah. Anyway.
But I do remember when we went years ago that I just kind of like, I think by the second day or whatever, I was just like, I feel like this place, it was a sea change, like having gone to PAXs so much and just being like, this is what a convention of this size is like. And then realizing you're like, oh no, you can run a convention of this size and have it not go anywhere near as smoothly as PAX does. For all the problems I'm sure that enforcers run into at PAX, that things keep chugging along pretty smooth. And I'm like, man, you know what would help this event? Enforcers.
I've been going to conventions since I was like 16. I've been at conventions as just a convention goer. So I've been through all the long lines. I know how it all feels. I've been a person in the artist alley. I've been part of helping plan certain things, and not like to a big enough deal that I get to skip lines for some of those, but I've been part of some planning stuff. I've known several planners, so I've heard all the stories. I know which people suck. And I've been a guest. And TwitchCon is the worst convention I've ever been to. And that includes high school conventions. So that's saying a lot.
And yeah, so I hope they can do better, but not terribly. I did want to give a shout out in one of the articles that was talking about TwitchCon has problems. That I was very comforted to read, or I was encouraged to read that someone was talking about was saying in contrast that they a female creator, she was going to PAX and had sort of heard that there was a somebody who had got a ticket and was coming to PAX,
Who she was worried about.
who in order to
Find her. Let's just say that.
find her.
Yeah.
Sure. And she was concerned about that quite reasonably, obviously. And she informed the security people at PAX, and they took it very seriously. And apparently, she had like 2 security people with her. Like they supplied 2 security people who were like on her, with her the entire time.
Yeah.
To help handle any issues and stuff. So she was very, positive about that. And and so it's like, you can't necessarily anticipate every single security issue, but the way that Twitch reacts, and this is historical as well as this year, the way Twitch reacts to these issues, instead of being like, oh, that's really bad, we're gonna fix it by XYZ, it's like, well, that happens,
Yeah, you can even kind of do the more push off of we're investigating, we're talking about what we can do in the future, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they didn't even do
but
like
to be like, oh well, this isn't a thing that is
It's
local
more-
to TwitchCon.
it's
It
more a
happens.
society
It's
thing.
a society thing. It's like, okay, cool. Really, really bringing in the trust.
And I know nobody has asked in chat. I haven't seen it go by or anything, but there is that question of, is like, well, why would you, like, if you know that it's bad, if you have seen over the last several years, then why would you continue to go? Like, why, or not even continue to go? Why would you elect to go maybe your first year? Maybe like, well, I will go back. It's like, this is we're
a big
lucky.
promotional thing.
Well, we are lucky in that there are a lot of us at this company, and we get to see each other and interact with each other. So there's a social element to working at Loading Ready Run, not in the fact that we hang out every Friday night and get drunk or whatever, or
No,
get
they
high.
just play Magic.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you are a very highly placed streamer and you're streaming maybe 5 days a week, and you might have 10,000 people coming in to watch you do stuff, but you do it all by yourself. And maybe your agent or manager is like someone you contact through email all the time, and maybe you don't get a chance to socialize that much because you're making bank on the back of doing whatever. It's like, it can be a really lonely job being a streamer at any level, whether you're highly placed or lowly placed. It can be a very lonely job and very, very isolating. And so the idea, it's like, I can go to an event where I can meet other people who understand what my job is.
Well, yeah.
And we can talk about the same things that bother us in our jobs, and we can like form mutual support networks and do things like that. And I'm like, and that opens up to like other forms of collaboration as well. But even just getting to meet other people, like, yeah, man, I know what the grind is like. I know what I sympathize, and seeking out ways to improve that for yourself. And it's like, yeah, that should be what this con could feel like for people. And it sounds like it isn't, because the people organizing it at the top want it to be a party con.
Well, yeah, that's advertising for them.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't...
Literally, if you're an IRL streamer who goes to TwitchCon, you're advertising for Twitch.
Yeah, because it's like, we want you to live the lifestyle that we want people to see on this thing. And it's like, that's so defeatist, I think, to the actual lives of the people who have to do this stuff in the first place.
And watching them, like, watching some IRL streamers literally party through with basically a conga line of people behind a camera into spaces that were already a different party, and then they would like leave because they got whatever it is that they needed for their camera shot was really
Right, it's very artificial.
very weird and artificial.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, I worked at a shoe store for like 2 days. And
So I know a thing or two about shoes.
well, during the first training day, they showed, I got a bunch of information I had to read about different kinds of shoes, which makes sense. But amongst the promotional video things I had to watch, they were very invested in showing me a video that basically stated if I did incredibly well on commissions, I could get into a limo and ride around New York City, and I would be so cool, and I'd be basically a celebrity.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be great? And I looked at that and I was like, I just want to make rent. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
The well-known shoe store limo.
So when I see people, when I see like this kind of thing at Twitch, and was like, so you want people to sign up as a streamer because they think it's a party because it's super easy to just sit in front of an audience and play video games. And starting as a streamer with nobody watching you is not like one of the hardest things in the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dope.
Yeah, they're always there is that always that promotion of you promote the highest earning people and that everybody could be like this, you know. Anyway, let's move on to something a little more upbeat. Like for instance, the Intellivision Sprint, which is a new thing coming out from Atari. It's a set-top console. That's got it's got 45 games built in, old Intellivision games, and yeah, this is. I mean, I think that this is even a little bit before my time. The you know,
Oh, really?
I was like Nintendo was sort of before I was really where I was paying attention.
Am I
to
the
video
only
games.
person then in this room that's actually played in television? Holy shit.
I played
well-
it, but like not at
Oh, no,
not,
at the
not-
time.
not contemporary.
When
no.
the Nintendo came out,
At the
I was
time.
like born.
Wow. Jesus.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And my parents really weren't video game people
No.
until Dr. Mario. So,
But yeah, this story has the sort of these. I find this has got like two kind of interesting things to it. I mean, one obviously this idea that Atari now, because Atari now owns a television.
Right.
So yes. All these years later, these former rivals are now working together, which I feel like in the years before Sonic and Mario at the Olympics would have been more of a big deal.
Well,
But it's like the idea that two giant companies that used to have a rivalry are working together now isn't even really that big a deal.
That's true. Of course, the two giant companies are shells of what they were and have been passed on through
Right.
multiple iterations.
Both
It's
of
just
them-
branding exercises.
Neither of them are actually their company.
What I think is interesting because if I go way back in time to when I was the age when the Atari 2600 was out and the Intellivision was out and the other systems of that era, like we're not going to talk about the Odyssey or the Fairchild or like all that kind of. We're not going to Channel F or whatever. We're not going to talk about those things specifically, but like. The Atari was like the big one of the time, and the Intellivision was also like this is also a big deal. ColecoVision was a thing at the time too, because everybody was trying. Coleco stands for Connecticut Leather Company.
yeah, I read
Right.
that in the comments.
Like it's kind of crazy to think that's like Coleco is like, oh, we were doing this, but also because we're a bunch of big nerds, we're gonna also try making computer games. Like that's kind of how it shakes out.
Also, I do want to note that anyone who watched the after show, Beach was right. It was the Amico.
Yeah. Yeah. So the of that era and me being the age that I was at the time, which would have been about 4 or 5 years old when these things were like prevalent, when they were out there. To me, there wasn't a big console war because I wasn't in school at the time. I was kind of just basically before school.
Yeah, you had to be in school to be part
Yeah.
of the console wars.
But
They demanded an education.
And it makes me wonder, I'm like, would there be 8-year-olds? Was this a thing that like 8-year-olds were arguing with each other about? Did it matter? Because they were not compatible.
Yeah, but I'm
And
sure
so
it
you
was,
had people playing one thing that they couldn't share games with somebody at another location. And I'm like, I don't know if there was the same kind of like arguments about whether you had a Nintendo or whether you had a Sega at the time.
I would imagine it would be similar.
That thing, I don't know, because I don't think the marketing was there to kind of really
part of the
drive
whole
that shit into kids' heads that one thing
Yeah.
is better than the other.
part of the whole console war with Nintendo and Sega was the fact that Sega kept putting in ads, which really did push that mentality along with. I mean, it wasn't like the only thing that pushed that mentality, but it really pushed it as like this makes you cool and edgy because the marketing is cool and edgy.
Yeah, the Genesis marketing was really kind of the extreme of that, right? It was the peak
Yeah.
of doing that kind of stuff, and then everyone started getting into the kind of like edgy marketing. But like of that era, I kind of felt like, you know, the Mattel and television thing or the Atari and television thing was probably like, if there was a schism, it was probably more about the fact that people were like, well, I can't play your games on my console, or I have to go shopping for a game. Oh, it's not available on your console. Because we talked about frogs, right? So Frog Bog, oh, well, that game exists on the other system and it's called this different thing. It exists in the arcade as yet another
the
thing.
console war in that way might have been less consumer based and
Yeah.
more
Business
business
based.
based.
Yeah, that they were trying to win over people.
I appreciated the number of people that I appreciate the number of people who appreciated the 44 plus
Classic games.
Yeah, 44 plus 1.
Yeah.
Frog Bug is a fun name to say.
Frog Bog is now,
I'll give it that.
some people also jumped to the defense of Frog Bog, which I also liked.
That's good.
Yeah, people were like, "Hey, don't say that about Frog Bog. Frog Bog was good."
It could be a really good game. We haven't. It's like, you know, who has played Balloon Fight? I've played Balloon Fight and I like it a lot.
Balloon
actually.
Fight's all right,
But-
for its era.
But this is, I mean, yeah, the seeing this now where it's like, oh, there was a fight on between these two, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember hearing people talk about that. I know the Commodore thing was a fight. Oh my God, like.
People actually fought about the Commodore.
The Apple II versus the Commodore versus I think the Atari ST at the time, like Apple II and Commodore especially was like
What year was this?
This was 1986,
Okay, this would be why I didn't know or care.
87. There was a lot of that because you go to a store to go buy a computer game and they would have like racks of them at Kmart. And you'd have to go find the section that had your games. And that inevitably meant walking past the other sections of the other games that were always, for some reason, had way
They still do
more
that.
choice for that. But it was like the first time I had to experience that, where I was like,
okay.
you know, it's like I came to Kmart to pick up because I wanted to finally buy like a
Kmart.
Commodore 64 video game for myself. And you walk past the thing and like, they have Double Dragon for the Commodore 64. It was not that great, but it's like, they have it and we could get that for home. And it would be so awesome because the arcade version's so awesome. And you're looking at the back, you're seeing like the Amiga version, the C64 version, like all the different versions all printed on the same box. And there were like 5 or 6 of them, all the different screenshots in the same, because they only make one box. They just put a sticker on the side that said which version of this was. But you would walk past all the Apple II games to get to the point where the C64 had like one line of stuff, and you're like, I feel like I'm getting shit on here that the home computer I have.
We chose wrong.
Did we choose wrong? I can't tell. Like apparently we did, because there's not.
So this wasn't like a feeling you got from other classmates.
No.
This was just through like product.
This is just through seeing what was available
Okay.
for the stuff that you would, you know, walk past it. And I never looked to see, were the prices the same? Maybe the prices were different too. Who knows? But that era was quite the thing.
Now, you know, talking about the bad price of the PS5, seeing the ad of this being $259.
Yeah, at launch back in the 80s.
So that would actually be like $800. Like
Yeah.
that would be comparatively.
Oh yeah, no, things were incredibly expensive.
So yeah,
New tech. And
I remember
stuff, right?
like whenever you know when video games like went up to when they've been going up to $80 or $100 or consoles get the thing, suddenly, you know, everybody becomes an economist major in inflation. They go, well, actually, because of inflation, you see, it's actually cheaper now than it was before. And it's like, but also we didn't talk about that.
armchair inflationists.
Well, then the buying power of the dollar was different, obviously, back then too. But also the relative nature of what things cost. You had to also, I think you can take into account the fact that like wages were constantly going up until Ronald Reagan got into office. But it was like that idea of that, our buying power has been more depressed, and that's why it feels like it's a lot harder to say I need to go out and buy, like I need to go out and buy a new console. Which one's it going to be? Well, shit, it can't be the $800 one.
I know my wages have been very depressed lately. I remember seeing a thing. This was a while ago now, but saying that like electronics are actually one of the only, at the time anyway, one of the only like reverse inflation. Like they were this weird reverse inflation thing that like as inflation goes up, electronics actually go down. And like you know, 20 years ago, a computer was $10,000.
Yeah.
And now it's.
Or you want to buy a TV for your house, and TVs are like, oh, they were the relative level of what a television would cost you is just like you're just seeing that drop and drop and drop as they bundle more spyware into televisions. But and which also we're seeing in chat.
Well,
the
more spyware, the cheaper the thing.
But Anubis says here, and now a Raspberry Pi, which can act as a desktop for an old person. Like the kind of like you can buy a Raspberry Pi 500 for about $100, or you can buy a Raspberry Pi like frickin' like the probably a 4 or a 3 or whatever. You can buy that for like $30. You can buy the 0Ws or whatever for $5, and it's just like, yeah, I can buy a jug of milk for $6.
I find the Raspberry Pi is a very cool thing.
Yeah,
I would. I would definitely not give one to a grandparent as like, hey, here's your computer, bye.
I did give my parents I set up a tower system for them. This is like back in the 2000s.
All you have to do is install Linux and go ahead.
Oh no, I gave them a fully installed Ubuntu system like back in the day, and I said you can do this stuff on it. And for a while they used it, and then eventually we're like, it's not that interesting to us, so we don't really want to play around with it. It wasn't until my mom got a laptop that she was like, I'm on this thing all the time.
Yeah, and lots of people use Raspberry Pis as desktop things. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just, I wouldn't call it like a starter computer.
No. Not for a lot of people, it won't be a starter computer, no. Not a thing they're going to understand.
All right, let's move on to just this little story about the Outer Worlds 2. Luckily, we don't have an Outer Wilds 2, although that would be great. But it's not coming out at the same time again.
2 cakes?
But Outer Worlds 2, which is coming out because Xbox is doing their Xbox thing now. It's coming out on PS5. And it's coming out as, but it will be, turns out that there's only about a gig on the disc, 1.4, I think, on the disc. And of the 77 gigs that the actual game takes. And so you'll have to download it, which, and I hope, and I'm glad people didn't think that we were saying that this is like the first time this has happened, because obviously it's not the first time.
No.
This is a very common thing.
Yes.
But it was mostly just kind of driven home by this idea, and especially because there's been a lot of stuff about the game key cards since the Switch 2 has come out, and so it's sort of risen to the foreground. This idea that it's like those of us who've been playing things on PC or on various consoles and stuff, especially PC stuff, it isn't even that uncommon to have all sorts, have big updates or have big downloads and stuff. Now, the thing that might be, I don't know if it's sort of deliberately obfuscating what's going on in this, but the thing that I saw about this particular one that I thought that felt very scummy to me is that if you look like on the disc, like the person did the what's the name of the place?
Does it play?
Does it play?
Okay.
They did a screenshot of the like info screen
That you would
showed-
see on PS5.
Yeah, you see on PS5 that shows it's only 1.4 gigs, but it also shows that it's version 1.000.000.00 or something like.
Yeah.
It's there. Apparently, there's going to be there. So there's like a day one patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Day one patch. It's going to be like 1.000.45 or something like,
Yeah.
which again is not that unusual.
Nope.
No, it's pretty common now.
Inserting a game and being like, oh, there's a day one patch. But the point here is that version 1.0.0 or 1.00000
Yeah.
isn't a game.
No. No, never was. It's a bootstrap module.
Like version 1.0 doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Version 1.00000.4 is the actual game.
Yeah.
And so what seems like it feels, and I don't know if this is how it's been, it seemed like how it was being presented was that this was just like a day one patch.
Yes.
But the fact that there was never any original game to patch
Yeah.
seems scummy to me.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it is, and I mean, the alternate take on this, you could make the joke that it's like Xbox is publishing a game for the PS5, and they're doing it by not actually publishing a game for the PS5.
Well,
And it's like, then everyone gets to look at the PS5 being like, what is this stupid goddamn thing that you're selling me? And Sony's excuse has to be, well, it's like, it's their name on the package, right? They got the PS5 name and everything else in the package. But their excuse has to be, well, that's because the publisher opted to not include the game on your disc when they sold you the game on your disc.
And I guess there's the other way. There could be like a way of looking at it where it's like, look, we know we're gonna have to do a day one patch.
Yes.
So what's the point in putting the game on the disc?
Yes. I get that.
I guess my question would be, why not delay the physical version till later?
Yeah.
There's multiple examples of people putting out a digital version of a game earlier and putting out a physical later for people who want the physical version.
And at this point, we kind of exist in a world where people who are physical game collectors are like, I will wait to get the physical copy. But I guess if what you're trying to do is we're also trying to goose that first weekend of sales, we want the box office on opening weekend to look amazing. And it's like, if that's what you're actually looking for, is to be like, no matter what, those first 3 days have to be the very best performance of your game, no matter what, to show exactly how strong the franchise is and the fan base is and blah, 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 and the anticipation, everything else. It's like, there's a very good chance they would be like, well, we're not going to wait the 6 weeks for production to happen for these things to come out and then have somebody be like, it's a month later and now I can finally buy this game, and that'll goose our sales again. I would want that. In fact, I would want to be able to see like, oh, there's a strong take up and then it kind of fell off. And there's another take up and it's like, people are discovering this game.
Also a lot of people buy games the day they come out because they really want to play them, and then they still buy a physical version later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when the story came out, I did see, and even in the comments to the ChillPoint, I saw some people being grumpy about their, people who had pre-ordered the game being like, oh, I didn't realize what I was getting.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean,
again,
why would you?
It isn't clear. It
No.
just says internet required, which, as we've talked about for other reasons, is a very common thing on video games now.
And this is why the point I was making was that, wow, everyone got super fucking head up about game key cards and the big ass banner, and like, it's like, oh my God, it's like they're spitting in our faces immediately upon seeing the thing. And I'm like, actually, I guess it could be a lot worse, couldn't it? It has actually for years it was a lot worse. And,
At least they told you they're spitting in your face.
yeah, and that's kind of like, as I say, I don't like the fact that these exist and that they are a solution for publishers who want to go this way. But I am at least thankful for the fact that I know when I see it that that's what it is, and that way I can
like them better.
Yeah, I like them better.
Especially then, like, I know it was kind of like, oh, they're basically code in a box, but they're a little bit different in the fact that they're not tied to your account.
Right.
Yeah.
They
So
can't be moved.
you can lend it
Sell
to
it.
a person
Yeah.
like a
Put it in a
regular game.
library.
And I think this,
Yeah.
the physical release of like Outer Worlds 2, I think is also movable
Yeah, okay, that's
in
cool.
the same way. But although, as again, some people in the comments rightly pointed out, assuming this is sort of gatekeeper, why is it 1.4 gigs?
Yes. Yeah, it's a key. So what is actually
I mean, I
built
am
into
kind
that?
of curious because it does
What's
seem
in there?
large for
Is it just
that.
because it's like presumably they don't have to make like a downloader? That's part of the operating system of the console.
So what I think it is I think you have to think of what is there as being a clothes hanger. That it's because whenever you install a game on
Maybe
PS5,
maybe it's like the opening cutscene of the game, and they're hoping that the rest will be downloaded before the cutscene's done, so you won't
it's
notice.
like a 2-hour movie. I like to think of it as a coat hanger, and I can't say if this is true or not. So, but I think what it might be is because whenever you install a game on PS5, you have to install it onto the box itself, right?
Even on disk, you have to.
It has to be installed onto the SSD. So I have this feeling that if you buy the disc and you put it in, and it starts to, it needs something to grab. The PS5 is like, I need something to install. It's like, oh yeah, sure. So here, take this thing, and what it's going to be is it's going to be this coat hanger, or it's going to be this like shoe organizer that hangs in the back of your door or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, here's all the empty spaces for all the content. And all this is just the framework of the thing that tells you how everything's supposed to be slid into place.
I don't know that has to work that way, but
Yeah,
sure, sounds a good reason.
some sort
as
of
any.
bootstrap thing.
Yeah, I still don't. The one of the reasons I like getting physical games for the Switch is because then it's also not a thing that takes up space on the internal hard drive. Right. So it still weirds me out that if I get a physical disc for a PS5 or even the PS4, you put it in and then you still have to wait for it to transfer the game onto the system.
Man, I remember back in the day for like the PS3, Graham and I would be doing unskippable recordings, which of course requires us to start a lot of games. Mm-hmm. But we don't play them very long. So you end up with like a lot of first run experiences. Yeah. And so the worst was you stick the game in. This at the time it's DVD, not Blu-ray, but you stick it in. Installs 4 gigs worth of the game. Start it the first time. Has to do a 4 gig patch update.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And again, we're talking PS3, which does not have a fast. Even if you've got fat pipes, the PS3 is not going to be downloading very fast. And it's just like we just want to watch the opening cutscene of this game,
right? And
we're going to uninstall it immediately.
And the trouble is that it's like you can't be like, hey, we'll do that now and then come back later. It's like no, because when I click the button to launch it is when we're actually intending to start working. It's
and also it didn't. At least I think they added the functionality later, but at least originally the PS3 couldn't multitask like installing and doing something else.
Right.
Like once it was installing a game and
that's all it wanted to do.
That was it. You couldn't put that into the background.
Neat.
Anyway, let's move on to a few other things. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is going to have a third person mode.
Great.
Which apparently Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, the general consensus I've seen of it is that it's like incredibly beautiful, like really, really well, really, really nicely looking and just sort of fine in terms of gameplay,
all right.
But really gorgeous.
That's good. Yeah.
So now you can look at your characters.
I mean, that's definitely was my experience with Avatar the movie as well.
I mean, maybe there will be people interested in playing with a third person mode. I know I try to avoid first person games personally, but
the people seem to be kind of excited about it.
I assume that if the game constantly let you change things, now you can see the things that you've changed. It's actually one of the things I find the funniest about first person mode games are the ones that give you a lot of costumes.
Right. Well, and the other thing, of course, is that it's games that are first person games and then they make a third person version. They got to be careful, right? Because usually when you make a first person game, you cut a lot of corners on the. Even if you do have like a character model,
right?
You can cut a lot of corners on the character model,
right?
They don't have to be actually doing all the things that you show them doing.
Yeah.
But when you switch to third person, it's like, oh great, now we have to make sure the animations all work.
Yeah. Avatar's the movie that got me the best return.
Yes.
The movie cut out during the whatever climatic fight scene.
Oh.
You could hear the sound, but we couldn't watch the video. So all you just heard was a bunch of like mashing sounds and stuff. And then they got it working again, and then it did it again to the point where we couldn't watch the rest of the movie. So everybody there got 2 free tickets to see other movies, but we'd seen most of the movie, so we were like,
Oh, we've seen Avatar,
great,
I guess.
2 free movies.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
It's a good return.
Yeah.
Better, you're good as 2 other
I wasn't going to
movies.
sit through that movie again.
No. We were already, I think, like 2 hours into it, I think, at that point, and it was just
It's
like...
not like you couldn't tell where it was going to end.
It was really weird, though, because when they brought it back up and it went down again, and all of a sudden, then it's just like... Then the lights come on, because everyone's like, hey, what's... And it's a full theater, and it's 3D and everything else, and then all of a sudden, the lights come up, and you're just like, oh... Like, you all know, the whole audience is like, oh... And it's like, yeah, we're sorry, folks. On your way out, deposit your glasses. There'll be vouchers for everybody.
Like when we watched Detective Pikachu and the movie went down, it only went down enough that they only gave us the 1 voucher.
Yeah.
And we went back so we could see the ending of it.
Yeah!
There you go.
I didn't know how that was going to...
Like, Avatar's great. But
When's
it's no
Ryan
Detective-
Reynolds going to show
It's
up?
no Detective Pikachu.
I'm not leaving till I see Ryan Reynolds' face. So.
Anyway, let's talk about some of those stuff. Starting with, we had that teaser video that turned out to be a Pikmin teaser video. People were like, "Ooh, what does that mean?" Well, it's not a new Pikmin game,
No.
at least not so far. But they are doing an update to Pikmin 4.
And Pikmin Bloom.
There's like a tie-in update.
Yeah.
So they're adding new decor Pikmin, which are kind of a crossover from.
Heather
Decor-
plays Pikmin Bloom.
I have played Pikmin Bloom. I stopped
Yeah,
playing because,
okay.
it's owned by
They're-
the same company that does Pokemon Go, and I don't play their games now.
But they're Pikmin that are like dressed up as different things.
Yeah. So in Pikmin Bloom, you collect different Pikmin that are based on like kind of locations and stuff that you've been to. So you can get airport Pikmin that are generally dressed up like planes, I think, and then food Pikmin and different types. There's certain ones I haven't been able to get because it's like the one you need to get from the post office, that kind of.
I get that, like, it's like, oh, they're Pikmin, but they're like disguised as things. So there's like one dressed up like a donut or one dressed up as a thing. The idea that a Pikmin would be disguising itself as a plane, I find disturbing.
Well, it kind of looks like they found one and then they like put it on.
Little toy plane.
The bus ones were really cute because they were like little cardboard, like box buses that they had around them.
Oh,
like,
nice.
So
they're not actually trying to like hide as a thing.
no, they're
more
just
like,
it's more like I found this neat
they
thing
like
and
the
I put it
aesthetic.
on. So yeah, that's what decor Pikmin are. They're gonna put those in Pikmin 4.
and then, but the cool thing is that the Pikmin Bloom and Pikmin 4 are gonna be able to talk to each other about them too.
Yes.
Which is cool. You can transfer.
So you can do some transferring because it sounds like they're putting a couple specific decor Pikmin in Pikmin 4 that you only get that way. So if you're trying to like fill out your collection or whatever. But they're also adding ice Pikmin to Pikmin
Right.
Bloom. Pikmin Bloom only features the 3 standard red, yellow, blue ones.
And so
Now they're
ice
getting
Pikmin are the new ones.
ice.
Now,
At least I think no, sorry, they did have rock and the purple ones. I
Yeah.
think as well. But yeah.
cool.
We're adding ice, which is just a rock Pikmin that's very slick.
All right.
I mean, if you look at the ice Pikmin versus the rock Pikmin, it's a rock Pikmin that's just in an ice texture.
Fair enough.
I think the more interesting thing is that they've added creature activity levels as a means of providing a different gameplay experience in
Yeah.
Pikmin 4.
Yeah, so they've added a relaxed mode where creatures won't attack you unless you attack them first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty funny. It's not just that the creatures never attack; it's you have to provoke.
Yeah.
And then they've also added a fierce mode, which I'm assuming means that things attack you more.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming it is the opposite.
Yeah, that anything is probably get aggroed a lot faster from a further out distance. I mean, when we played Pikmin 3 together, there were a lot of things when we would go into some caves and just be like, oh shit, there's just a few big guys there And if we get too close, we're going to get aggroed real fast, and we're going to lose like half of our Pikmin. And that was part of the strategy of learning how to get around them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, if we had put it in, if there was a relaxed mode for that, it
I wish they'd added in a 2-player mode. I would have replayed that game again with you.
Oh, for Pikmin 4? Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
2-player? Yeah.
Yeah. Like
yeah,
a true
the
4-player or
because
2-player.
Pikmin 3 didn't have 2-player mode originally either. When they re-released it for the Switch as the deluxe version, they put in a 2-player mode with
neat.
like a split screen, so we could just run around and do.
But they haven't done that for 4.
Yeah, they haven't done that
Yeah.
for 4 as far
It's
as I'm
so
aware.
nice though, because you can be saying, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go do this. What are you going to do? I'm going to go out and go do this. Okay, great. And then you would split up and go, and then you'd run into things where like, actually, I need you to help out. And so then you would try to coordinate, come back to this area, go through here. And then you realize that you both don't have a really good idea of what the map is like, because you're only kind of concentrating in your own areas. So then it's trying to find your way back. But it's fun because it's a lot of like coordination and conversation that keeps the game running at that point.
Yeah,
And relax mode would have been nice.
I like Pikmin 4 better overall,
Yeah.
but I had more fun playing Pikmin 3 as a 2-player experience.
Yeah.
Nice.
4 has the doggo, and he's super helpful.
And then there's also they're adding a like a camera mode thing,
Oh yeah, for more pictures
and fancy
related
things. You
things,
can
which I mean makes
add
sense if you're
filters
doing
and frames and stamps.
if you're doing like a decor Pikmin
Yeah.
thing of you probably want to take pictures and do some fun stuff.
Pokemon Legends ZA ZA
Zah.
Yeah.
is one of the things to the one of the requirements to get a shiny charm, which I believe makes it more likely that Chinese will appear.
Yeah.
Is you have to complete 1,000 battles.
Blech.
Well, I mean that game is centered on fighting, so I guess that makes sense.
I've seen a couple of people saying that completing the like story of the game resulted them with having like between 200 and 300 battles. So that's a lot of battles.
Okay, so that's quite a bit. Does it include PvP battles?
No,
or
apparently, I think
just-
it is just down to because, the story is what's interesting because somebody was like, well, I want to get that shiny charm, so I'm going to get out my 3D printer. And I'm like, oh, they printed up some sort of rig that holds everything in place and does whatever. No, that's not how they're using their 3D printer.
I mean, technically it sort of is.
it kind of is.
So basically what they did is they set up they used their 3D printer to first make a bracket for the Switch
To hold the A button down.
to hold the Switch in a specific position with the A button held down.
Okay.
And then they programmed the 3D printer so that the 3D printer's nozzle moves and boom, pushes a button on the
Pushes the ZL button.
the ZL button at a predetermined interval. And so basically they allows them to
Auto target.
auto go through. So, I mean, this is one of those things. This is a little bit like, the Gambit thing in Final Fantasy 12, where you sort of set up the automation, and then you're like, wait, is that the game? Is this machine that holds down one button and then pushes another button at the same time, regularly doing just as good at this game as I was, trying to optimize things? What am I, then
Yeah.
what am I doing with my life?
I mean, I haven't played it, but I have heard that one of the things you can do in this game that you haven't been able to do in previous games. So we all know that in a regular Pokemon game, if you get caught in the eye line of another trainer, the rules say we must battle now.
Right.
And that trainer will see you regardless of anything forever, right? In this game, supposedly, you can sneak and hide from the trainer so they can't see you, which is doubly funny in the fact that you might have a giant Pokemon standing behind you, but they don't know why it's there and they can't see it either.
Do you get to hide in a Pokebox and sneak around
or just
snake them on?
Yeah,
Just
you
smoke
just
bomb?
kind of sneak around, and then if you can, my understanding is you do it so that you can hit a Pokemon prior to the fight, so you can gain advantage or something.
Okay.
like I said, I haven't actually played it. I've heard some things that makes it sound pretty funny.
Also, by the way, you can also get this charm for $10, like via in-app purchase or whatever, in-game purchase.
Huh. So you don't have to buy a 3D printer to get it. Okay, that sounds good.
So don't buy a 3D printer in order to do this. But anyway,
You can just
buy the charm if you want
I knew
it.
they had announced DLC that people were like a little bit like about because they don't know anything about it. But if you buy it, I think you get like a couple of outfits. You can just buy the charm.
apparently there's a $10 DLC for the charm. Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, Pokemon. That's just scummy. You have other problems that you should fix.
It's
No, they have some problems they should fix.
okay.
That's scummy.
Personally, I'm like for any. I would. To me, it's kind of like, oh, there's just people out there who are always on a shiny hunt anyway. So for them to be like, I'll pay the $10 at the top of the game so I have a better chance of catching my shinies. It's like, I guess it is a single player game ultimately. So
The question becomes, though, of course, if there wasn't the $10 thing, would they make it not 1,000
battles?
is the number of battles artificially increased to make it more make people more inclined to buy it?
Yeah, I know that on some of the Hatsune Miku games I've played, you have to unlock your songs or unlock outfits by using currency, and I could pay money for a DLC thing that would just unlock all of it beforehand. And I don't have an issue with that. But I feel like maybe they would have made this 500 battles, or maybe it turns out there's a secret way to go get a shiny charm you didn't know about.
Yeah. That's the thing that gets
kind
me.
of thing.
Yeah.
But once you say, oh no, it costs $10 to do this thing, you are attributing a value to time there.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I still think it's a bit scummy.
Yeah, not great, but anyway. Speaking of a bit scummy, Battlefield 6 came out a week or two ago. Very, very successful. It's selling oodles and oodles of copies. Apparently it's pretty good. But it was under development for quite a long time. For instance, while it was in development, it was one of the companies that was originally working on it was called Ridgeline Games, and that studio closed or was closed by EA.
Okay.
While it was in development, and then development was shifted to a different. That part of the development was shifted to a different place.
So some work was already being done by specific people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a bunch of work was done by Ridgeline. Ridgeline then went away.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked about this a little bit before, that credits in video games is actually kind of important. For those of us playing the games, it's like, whatever, fast forward, blah, 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 blah. But, if you are a professional in the industry, being able to show your name in the credits and showing what your job was is actually really important. And in the past couple of years, this idea of of being like often what used to happen a lot was it would be just like, whatever, translation services by this company, and that's it.
Right.
There would be no more information.
There's also practices like if you're not around when the game launches, you don't get your name in the credits is kind of more of a punishment.
And this is the trick here.
Question mark?
So,
it kind of sounds like it.
So because Ridgeline doesn't exist anymore as a company, there's no Ridgeline part of the credits.
Right.
And so the people who were working for Ridgeline and ended up not continuing to work for EA because they got fired, got, for one thing, so most of them apparently got shifted to the special thanks, just general special thanks.
Which means they did have their
section,
names.
which their names are there, but it doesn't actually say what they did.
I know,
which is kind of important.
it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I feel like you can try to justify your actions sometimes by being like, well, the company got let go and we took this thing up and blah, blah, and we didn't have that information or something, right? And it's like, sure, you could have gone looking for it, but the whole like, well, we didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
But if you're going to put them in a special thanks section, you kind of did, didn't you?
And then apparently about 5 people just aren't there at all. Were just completely omitted. And so Marcus Leto, who's the former creative director of Ridgeline, posted a thing on LinkedIn. Basically, he posted like, here are the corrected Battlefield 6 credits. With
Right.
these people who should have been in the Battlefield 6
It's a hell of a
credits.
thing though, because it like so was he also one of the omitteds?
I'm not sure.
Because that would be a remarkable fuck you if it was.
Oh yes,
Like,
yes. In
I-
fact, it was.
Okay.
I was
Jesus.
reading. I've been reading. The current book I'm reading is the boss fight book for Resident Evil, and the person writing the book in the book has been like, so I wanted to contact the people who the actors who did the live action scenes, and I wanted to contact the voice actors, but in the game, the only person listed as a voice actor is the guy who says Resident Evil at the beginning of the game. So tracking down people was really hard.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, apparently they got that guy to do Biohazard and Resident Evil for 0 to 10.
They
all
had
in,
him
all in one go. So in the mainline games, you still hear his voice even though they've never brought him back.
Because he only had to do it the one time. Wow. Woof.
We're on 9 now,
Oh no,
just coming
they're
out.
Gonna run
so
out?
they're going to run out.
Yep.
But yeah, so you can see here, this is the fixed or the additional credits that this guy made for Ridgeline Games.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
doing the cinematics, doing the design, all the actual people who were involved, and yes, the people who were omitted.
It's
who-
a
so
pretty
these are
good layout there.
People
Yeah.
who weren't even in the special thanks. But yes, including franchise leadership, which is this thing. So, but yeah, credits are important, and the fact that they are often used as kind of a sort of a carrot and stick
Yeah.
thing. Like there's lots of stories about when companies are doing layoffs or they're closing or doing other stuff. It's one of those like you can either do this quietly, take your severance package and
Keep your credit.
or it's gonna get ugly. And maybe your credit doesn't show up in the game that you've been
That's
working on for 2
miserable.
years. Yeah. And yeah, film credits are also a problem too. But
It is interesting.
at least
to-
those are a little bit more like codified.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's interesting though to think about those kind of things. Because academically, that's a similar. I had a friend who he was studying abroad in Japan, and he was doing graduate level work and science work, and he was doing experiments and stuff and all this kind of work, and he was kind of like. He was technically lead author on a paper, but of course you're never lead author on a paper when you don't have a doctorate. You're your advisor,
Yeah,
the person who has the doctorate.
If you're lucky, you might get first name on the
on
on the other role.
They'll be like they go first and then you usually go second. And apparently he was doing a ton of work, and he was the one who was like running all the experiments and leading all the research and doing whatever else. But of course your advisor comes first. And then he was like, I can't be here anymore. I need to go home. Like, this is too much, and I need to I'm broken. I can't be here anymore. I need to go home. And they're like, oh, all right then. And then he later saw the paper that they published, and his name was at the very bottom.
Oh, I'm surprised they kept his name.
Well, because you can't just, in academia, you couldn't just eliminate somebody for all their work, because that would not be the right thing to do.
That's not the point.
Right? But it was one of those things. It's like, well, then we're just going to basically shove your contribution down to the very bottom, past the people who had done very little to forward the thing, but they were still attached to the paper. And I'm just like, if that's the kind of thing that happens in academia, knowing that it happens even worse in other sectors that have credit. And then, like, even it's weird to me, because I'm like, yeah, you should credit everybody and all that stuff should always happen. And I'm like, right, there's also so many industries, though, where we don't do any of that for people. Like, I don't, when I get my receipt from having going out to the restaurant to eat the burger, it's like your server was so and so. And that's it. It's like your chef was. It doesn't tell me everybody who works at the company. It's like that's kind of a thing that we don't do. So nobody really thinks about the importance of actually being given credit in the first place for a lot of stuff like this.
Yeah, I think yeah, sort of there are sort of norms, and it is one of those, like, if every single person who is involved in even a tiny bit in every single thing is credited, then it just becomes useless noise.
Yeah.
So there has to be some discernment there.
Yeah. Telling me where the beef came from in my hamburger, it's like that's one thing, but telling me the guy who grew the beef, it's like that's another thing too. And it's
What
like,
is the name of the cow?
Yeah, what's the name of the cow? Her name was Elsie, and she had the biggest, brownest eyes.
Oh yeah, I guess she probably doesn't care too much about the credit at that point. Anyway, so we talked a lot of it today, actually, about prices of consoles, which sucks that they've been going up. But if you're a developer, you're not immune, because
Sucks for you too.
yeah, who would have guessed? Because even Xbox dev kits, the prices are going up on, which is just like, come on, man. Like, how much money could you possibly be? Also, The Verge won't let me view this anymore.
Not without a subscription.
Which is very annoying. But
Okay.
anyway, like, how much money could you possibly be making off? Like, so
Yeah,
they were $1,000, I think, and they're going up to $1,500.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, you have to remember dev kits are different than your
Yeah, so
standard
there's-
models, so there's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be less of them made.
Yeah.
And they're going to work a little differently.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would hope that everybody who needs a dev kit for the current
Jen
Xbox
has one.
would hopefully have one.
Also,
So the burden's going to be more on companies who are maybe looking at trying to port their games.
it's kind of a remarkable position to be in, though, too, because you'd assume that this would be the loss leader category, right? Where you'd
Like,
be like,
you want people working on, like,
yeah,
I mean, maybe part of the problem is that that if the actual Xbox consumer thing starts to get too high in price, then people just buy the dev kit
kit.
So I thought dev kits got returned after.
that you can get to keep them.
I'm pretty sure you don't get to keep dev kits.
I don't know.
Like when they're of no more use, I thought they went back.
I'm not sure actually what the current situation is with that.
Yeah, because I don't know how they.
I know for a lot of a lot of the consoles these days, the dev kit is literally just like a PC
Yeah,
with special software on it.
yeah.
But yeah, dev kits are usually leased. But anyway, so
Yeah,
just
'cause
the
generally they don't want people to sell them after they're done with them. Like the fact, like if you ever find a dev kit for sale on like eBay and stuff, that should not be there.
Yeah. The question is generally too. Then it's like, oh, if you're buying this PC, and it might not even be like a custom. It might be just a stock, like a Dell something or other, maybe. And it just happens to have special cards, special software, special something that's put into it. I think it's really
sorry. It's apparently 15 to 20. I can't read this article anymore. I swear when I looked at this article originally, maybe Verge just recently put up a new paywall that they won't let anybody read their articles.
But
Anyway.
yeah, largely that's you'd think that I mean, we always say this. You'd think that what you'd do is you'd make the stuff free for your developers to take part in. That you'd want to be like, oh, are you a developer? We'll register with our program, show that you're a developer, and we'll get you a dev kit right away so you can do stuff with it. But I mean, even like there's something about having a threshold to pass, which then keeps anybody from being able to participate in the thing, sometimes a benefit.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's just trying to imagine, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like how many somebody in the comments was saying that like they have
100 dev kits?
100 dev kits, but it's like, yeah, a big studio might have a lot of dev kits.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, we're talking in, like, we talked about the PlayStation 5 has sold 80 million PlayStations.
Yes.
So like we're talking like even if it's like a couple of thousand even if a couple of thousand more dev kits are sold now, which again,
Yeah.
presumably most of the dev kits that you're going to sell have already been sold.
Yeah.
But even if you're selling another 1,000, you're going to make $500,000 more dollars, which in the context of
How many of the other things
how
you
ma-
sold?
in the context of your the entire thing is chump change.
Yeah.
And you're putting another barrier on people making, games for your system, which is presumably the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Anyway.
I mean, like development software traditionally for Windows platforms, like you having to buy Visual C++ or having to buy Visual Basic or like that kind of thing.
Well, these days it's we've talked about it. The EA's or Epic's stuff with like you have why can't I remember the name of the stupid program that they messed up?
Fortnite.
Unreal.
Unreal.
Okay.
Unreal or Unity, those are
Yeah.
the dev systems, and those are free for small things, and then they get more
Yeah,
expensive.
there's a sliding scale on. But like just having to do like back in the day, if you wanted to program something for Windows and having it's like you would need access to the GUI tools and stuff, and that was like something you had to do through acquiring development software that was going to cost you a lot more money than just like having access to C in the first place. If you were like working on Unix or something and you want to write stuff in C, it's like, okay, well, C was, I don't think, just free for the platform at the time. Like I think you did have to buy compilers and stuff to work on those kind of things. And then like the Linux development chain was like, we want to make everything free. And then a lot of development was going on there, if I remember that correctly. And it just feels like we've shifted an awful lot, because it's like now you can write Python on like any platform. You can write like a lot of these you can do a lot of programming in a lot of different languages on any platform without having to pay people money to the benefit of programming it. But what you do have to do is you have to pay for a development account with Apple. You have to pay $99 to have a year's subscription, so you can actually say, I want to put my thing on your platform and put it on the App Store and like do that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's weird. Like they'll give you Xcode, but they'll be like, you need to pay us money to get into the actual publishing side of things and be a recognized developer and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is very unusual. That but at least that's affordable. That's $99. Spending $1,500 or $2,000 to be like, I want to make an Xbox game. It's like that's now yet another order of like higher.
Sure. I mean, for one, you're going to want your dev kits to probably be more expensive than, say, the commercial kit.
Yeah.
Because you don't want consumers to buy. I'm assuming there's other barriers other than just price. I'm assuming I wouldn't be surprised if these went up in price due to tariffs and taxes and a lot of other stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
The same
$500.
They've literally cited the same.
Seems like a high,
macroeconomic circumstances, or
like
whatever.
a really high price hike, though. Like, so I guess I don't know. It all sucks all around.
Pocket Pair Pocket Pair, obviously the people who do Pal World and Pal Farm now, I guess.
Right. Yeah, they have a whole series.
One of the other things that they're doing is they are going into publishing, or they are in publishing. I'm not sure if they've actually published anything yet, but
Outside of their own games.
yeah, but they are becoming the one to become a third-party publisher, Pocket Pair Publishing. But they say we want to use our success to empower other developers. We want to give you money and we want to help you make a fun game. But there's one caveat. Pocket Pair will not be handing bundles of cash to your project if it leverages generative AI. Pocket Pair Communications Director and Publishing Manager John Buckley explained that the company simply doesn't believe in the polarizing technology. He also...
Go Because it would be.
I like this. He says he also wonders, given the fact that Pocket Bear is regularly accused of deploying generative AI within Palworld, whether people will actually believe him. So people are going to say I'm lying, but these are just hard facts. We don't believe in it. We are very upfront about it.
Hell yeah, we ripped out those designs fair and square.
If you're big on AI stuff or your game is Web3 or uses NFTs, there are a lot of publishers out there who will talk to you, but we are not the right partner for you.
I have some questions.
Yes.
So I went looking at what their games are that they make, because everyone knows they make Palworld.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, maybe there is no generative AI in Palworld. That is possibly a fact. Does this mean they're going to take down their 2022 game, AI Art Imposter, that uses AI art in order to draw things that they don't believe in?
Good question.
I have
Next
I
question.
don't disbelieve some other stuff, but I have some questions about their previous games then. This is also an early access game, which suggests that they're going to finish it at some point.
Oh my god.
I have some questions. I don't disbelieve what you have to say about Palworld because I can't prove it, but some other stuff seems a little blatant.
Wow.
So maybe I don't believe you for other reasons.
Well, good for them for taking a stand in the industry that has. I can't even finish the sentence. Jesus Christ!
I mean, if they want to do that, I think that's great.
Sure.
I just feel like maybe they need to take down some other stuff, or they need to like bring up, hey, in the past we thought it was a great idea and we don't now.
Yeah, we realize this is a terrible idea.
Pretend that people can look up what you've done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, if you're going to rip off another company's designs, you should actually have to like go to the effort of paying artists to rip off the designs for you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, did they say they don't believe in AI because it's a plagiarism machine? Because that would have been funny.
That would have been really funny.
It is something that has plagued other stores, but Steam has been good at keeping them out.
That game's listed on Steam.
I mean, Steam doesn't keep it out. It does have like a little thing you have to say that generative AI was used in it, but they don't keep it out. Steam has been keeping it out, but it's happening. This wave is coming, and I think we're going to enter this kind of authenticity market where people are going to slowly say, no, these guys are really trying to make something special to fight back.
The guys who promoted their game as Pokemon with guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
keep trying.
Special.
Keep trying.
So anyway, he also was talking about that apparently one of the things that they have been accused of using AI for is the translation of Palworld. Part of the reason, and it's actually going back to what we were just talking about, because part of the reason why they're accused of using AI for the translation is that they don't credit the translators individually.
They credit a company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's saying one of the big pieces of evidence is because we hadn't published the individual name of the translator, so it must be AI. Well, no, that's just poor Japanese culture in general.
Yep.
In a lot of Japanese games, the credits will say localization was handled by a company. I'm not saying that's right. It's unfortunate. We don't like it as much as anyone else, but that's how a lot of these companies want to operate.
I will give them the idea that a lot of times I have seen people just say, oh, well, this must be AI slop, to things that are definitely not AI because they don't like it. And I've definitely seen people go, well, it must be because a person, when they draw something, draws everything perfectly like a photograph, right? And I'm like, that's not okay.
Sometimes artists do just like mess up.
Yeah. Sometimes artists aren't good at drawing hands also as well.
Yeah.
But at least they know how many fingers are on the hand.
Feet are hard to draw, man.
What kills me though here too is that it's also this is also passing the buck because so you're like, oh well, we contracted out to a company and the company is like, yeah, we're the ones who do it, and they're not going to provide you a list of the people who worked on translating the thing because they're just like, it's just all worker bees in a hive, and we are not interested in we just want the credit for the company. We don't give a crap about the people who are constantly coming in and out of here. Maybe they're a black company, maybe they're not. It doesn't matter, but the term black company is an abusive company that like really overworks their employees. Anyway, it is also completely likely that said company that does localization, maybe they also rely upon AI internally, and they're not going to tell you that that's what they do. And then you can basically say, well, it's out of our hands because we're doing localization with this company, and they come back with a result, and we put it in the game, and it's like, yeah, but did you read any of it? Because it doesn't make. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong in Pal World or Pal Farm or anything else either. I haven't played it and
but that
read the
we've
whatevers.
seen other
But
stories where that has happened,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, oh, well, we didn't make the trailer. Someone else made the trailer. It turns out they used AI, so you can't blame us. Like,
Yeah, and that idea of like, oh, well, if you're seeing that there's weird translations going on in the game, that's not our fault. That's the company we contracted with. It's like, yeah, well, it's very indicative of them using AI. Oh, we didn't notice. It's like, of course you didn't, because you probably didn't go back and check it all. Or maybe you do know that they use AI, but you were like, well, we don't. We it's kind of a, if I don't ask you if you do, then you're not going to say anything. Like that is a thing that can happen. And I mean, yeah, you try to
Entering
be
the don't ask, don't tell
Yeah.
section of AI.
and
Yeah.
as it like we're a company ourselves, right? And as a company, you try to be like as you try to like spend time to ensure that you're not going to run into working with other companies or with people or whatever, where you're going to have problems, like people are going to be upset about that kind of thing, but you don't always know what problems you're going to run into. So anyway,
Let me we're just about out of time here, but so there's one more story I want to talk about here, because I mean we had it in the intro a little bit, but we almost made it out this week with no Sonic stories.
yeah, almost.
But we can't have that, can we?
No.
Because Sonic needs more characters in the spotlight. Because 2024, I mean, I don't need to remind you, was the year of Shadow.
Correct. We were all wearing
Oh.
T-shirts that said that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
which year of Knuckles, or maybe
So-
the year of Tails, or Amy Rose? Maybe Amy Rose gets a turn. Now that Nintendo is putting Zelda more front and center, it's popular to put other female characters more front and center in these franchises, right?
The year
Or maybe
of Rouge.
Styx. I don't
The
know if
year-
Styx is in any
The
games.
year of Big.
Yeah. Year of Scourge.
That'd be fun.
The year of Robotnik. Wait, no.
Maybe we don't need to celebrate Robotnik.
The year of Mechasonic. Anyway, yes, he says last year. This is Takashi Iizuka, the sorry, what was he? He's the team boss for Sonic Team. He says last year we promoted the Year of Shadow, influenced by the movie, which of course the Sonic 3 had Shadow in it. But I'd like to choose a theme each year and spotlight a different character.
I will
think
say Luigi never got a movie.
Yeah.
it's true. Where's the Shadow Luigi team up movie? That we want
Oh,
to see?
that would be fun. I'd be up for that.
One's a cowardly plumber. One's a hedgehog with a gun. They're cops.
The
I don't
plumber
know.
might be afraid of his partner.
They're a team. They fight crime. I don't know what they do. They fight Robotnik.
Ghosts. They can fight ghosts together.
that's true, yeah.
One uses a vacuum cleaner, the other one uses a gun. Luigi has no idea why he keeps trying to shoot spirits with a gun.
Yeah, they're gun ghosts. I think we can predict which characters will appear in the upcoming movie, and so I'd like those characters to play an active role. Oh, so he's already like, okay, so for Sonic 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9,
Yeah.
the movies that are going to be coming out definitely.
Yeah.
These are the characters that are going to be in it.
Why is there no movie 7?
I know, right? I was just thinking that, but they're going to hold that one back for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. That one's not going to do so well.
No. They're going to release it as a prequel to the 8 and 9 trilogy later on. Yeah.
How about the year of like weird older style Sonic?
Oh,
Ooh.
like Princess Sally shows up in one of these.
They should definitely put Princess Sally in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just it's like rather than each character getting like a year, a year of Amy Rose or a year of Tails or a year thing, have just
Ooh.
a year. It's like this is the year of 1982 Sonic.
Oh, yeah.
This is the year of the weird Sonic where he turned into a werewolf sometime.
Or they can upset everyone and make it the year of that human girl that he was in love with and kissed.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe he just kissed. Maybe they weren't in love. I didn't really, I read
in
Luke
fact, that's
Cole's
what they
notes
should
on that.
call it. They don't give her a name. Just, it's the year of the weird human girl that Sonic fell in love with and kissed.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do one for Shadow's sister, who I think has a human body and was sick, and that's why they made Shadow, is because
They made Shadow so that he could
try to
protect
save
her,
her.
which is why he had a gun, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Something.
there was
It's like there was like a professor.
I didn't know that Shadow had a sister.
Yep.
I think it's
Clearly you
definitely
are
a
the
human
Sonic,
girl.
Lore guru.
I am involuntarily having to learn so much.
Chat likes it when they have to watch someone like hobbies they don't like.
Christ. Anyway, everyone wants Amy to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, did you know there was a girl Sonic? And it's like,
I mean,
yeah.
she's got a giant hammer and
Yeah.
she's not afraid to use it.
We
It's
must
like
need our
there are
girl
some
Sonic.
goals there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need our RC.
It's just the year of Amy's giant hammer.
So did
Not
he
Amy,
did he re-
just the
did they like maybe give us a little teaser of what the next year
They
character
did
would
not.
be?
So this is one of these great things where it's like, this is, the Sonic team boss saying that he would like to do this. And so it's like, so
Let's get out there and do this.
are we doing this? Like, aren't you the one who gets to decide whether we're doing this?
Yeah, I would have thought that you'd be like, this is who we want to concentrate on next year. And it's like, well, then okay, then say so. And
I mean, because it's like we're almost out of October. I
Yeah.
feel like if you have a thing you want to concentrate on for next year, you've probably been working on that for a while.
was it ever
already.
the year of Tails?
Did Tails get a year? I don't think so.
I feel like I would have known that.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it would have been for the second movie, right? Is when
I would assume so.
Tails
yeah.
Tails has some really cool stuff, but he does often get short shifted.
it's true.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if you go by the video games, of course, he's just as fast as Sonic, but it can also fly.
yeah, clearly an improvement.
But-
They make him very techie in some stuff.
That's true.
So he's generally like a little bit more on the smarter side, like kid genius type.
Also, despite the fact that he can fly, he also is a experienced pilot.
Yep. I mean, okay.
Because if you can fly
Okay.
by rotating
Okay.
your tails into a helicopter, clearly you
But-
can also fly a biplane.
Paul, lots of people know how to walk and run places, and they still use cars.
Okay, you know
You
what?
know, you tails
That's
are
true.
going to get
That's
tired.
true.
I feel like a plane is acceptable.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I'm just saying maybe they could have spread out the flying capability among the characters so they're not just reliant on one flying person.
Fair.
Yep.
Fair. He doesn't need to be in charge of all of the flying parts.
Anyway. All right, that's all the stories that thought were interesting to talk about this week. If you haven't seen this week's episode of ChillPoint, you should check it out because it's very good. Again, a couple of stories. I think we mentioned it that Nelson wrote the story about TwitchCon.
Yes.
Cameron wrote the story about the Intellivision spirit. Beej
Sprint.
wrote the story, or Sprint, sorry, yes. Beej wrote the story about the game key cards, and Graham wrote the story about the PlayStation Portal. Yeah, if you haven't checked it out already, you should go watch it because it's really good. It is up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/LRRVG. In fact, if you want to become a member of that channel, you will get your name in the credits at the end of the episode ChillPoint. As a little thank you for that, you can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, on Twitch. You can become a subscriber here on Twitch, or you can become a member of any of our other YouTube channels.
Yeah.
However it is easiest for you to support us, we want you to do that. Also, store.loadingreadyrun.com if you want to buy some stuff. It is available for you to do that here.
Tails
There.
is 8 years old? I thought he was like 12. Ah, God. Sonic's super irresponsible.
Wait, he's 8 and Sonic is 30?
Sonic's like 16,
Yeah.
I think, canonically.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jesus. But they mature early.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how. 8 years old in fox years.
Okay, but is it more that
versus
just that it's
16
like
in hedgehog.
he's 8 years old when his tail split? Maybe that's the thing. He was just a normal ass fox for like his life, and then his tail split, and that's when he could actually start talking.
I don't know if he had a tail split moment or if
Okay.
he just came out that way.
It's
Or
like
just have a
baka
regular
kitsune.
tail and then get like a.
I don't think they have other
body mod?
foxes with
Like you get your tongue
multi
split?
tails.
There's a Japanese folklore about bakeneko, which are cats that when they reach a certain age, if they make it all the way to 20 years old, their tail can split in two, and when their tail splits in two, they can walk upright and they can have conversations, and they become people at that point, which
Cool.
is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cute
right.
too, but yeah.
Anyway,
We don't need to derail the ending too.
thanks everybody for watching, and we will talk to all y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.